Hello, it's me, the Avatar Fanatic, and today we will be talking about my review of Episode 2 of the live-action Netflix adaptation of Avatar The Last Airbender, Warriors. Largely what was covered in this episode of Avatar was Book 1, part of Episode 3 and 4 of the original, to where the first episode of the live-action was Episodes 1 and 2 and part of 3. This was a really, and by really, I mean really Kyoshi Island-centric episode, which in itself is great, gives more context and arcs on the island, but does worry me a bit for the succeeding episodes because I fear there won't be enough focus on some important episodes. Keep in mind you can eliminate the Great Divide almost entirely and aspects of other episodes, but you can't really strip it down to bare bones. So that's my main worry for the next episodes. The episode starts with Katara finding the waterbending scroll she finds in the original, and learning some waterbending by a river, although I really don't know how she was able to do that given they were in the clouds of the Southern Air Temple, but that's besides the point. There was a cool bit of fun between Katara and Aang having basically what was a water fight, not with bending or anything, but with their hands, which was good in developing their relationship, I guess, making them closer and closer, although we don't really see much more of that. It's just kind of them traveling around rather than really developing sort of bonds that they had in the original. Aang found Momo and they headed for Kyoshi Island. I noticed that the gang at this point isn't really focusing on these supplemental adventures that I said that have happened in the original that made it so great, but it's sort of a trade-off they made. It was basically including more of the elders, giving them more prominent roles, slightly bigger scopes into what they were doing in important points of interest rather than these little adventures. Again, as I said, it's a trade-off. In this case, I think it's an okay one, but I'm worried if it continues, you will miss a lot of the bond building the gang had early. It already feels a little bit rushed, but they did their best with it. The acting, honestly, throughout the episode was very, very good. Better than the first episode, I will say. It struck to me a little more authentic. And the CGI was fantastic again, along with a lot of the visuals being good. As I said, they gave the elders bigger roles. In episode 1, it was Gyatso and an Air Council. And in episode 2, it was a big dive into a new character we see in Suki's mother, along with Zhao, along with more of a focus on Kyoshi Island and a port city Zhao's ship inhabit, where in episode 1 it was Sokka and Katara's home tribe and the Southern Air Temple. I like this change and it was done well, but again, I would like a little more of the soul of the original. There's not no soul, but there's a little less. Again, keep your expectations moderated. I've never expected it to be as good as the original, but you could do minute details that would have made it better that weren't done, I think. Sokka and Suki get into this romance arc in the episode. Again, a little rush trying to stuff as much information as possible in a 50-minute episode where much is happening is very difficult. The creators gave themselves the excuse of Suki's mother announcing a 48-hour stay for the Avatar as a justification. Sokka also mentioned how he learned so much in one day. Again, another admission of it. But honestly, it was a feel-good arc, done well, and acted out well, and fairly convincing. Suki was much more of this obsessed, weird freak than normally she ever was in the original, with a lot more personality. I never really got that impression in the original that she would have been like that, but honestly, it fit her decently well, and I kind of felt the whole plotline very hilarious. The creators of the live action and Suki's character actually made this make a lot of sense. She was shielded from the world, and when something external came that she liked, it was like she didn't know how to act. Pretty smart approach to the arc. I was rooting for the arc to go well, which is usually what you do if the arc is pretty good or gives the viewer emotion while watching the arc. So even if people don't like it, a reaction I think is better than a no reaction unless it's terrible. We see some classes the Warriors do like in the original, and some very interesting stuff happened, but that's really besides the point. There were some small scenes like in the first episode of the Southern Water Tribe village that were also prominent in this episode with Kyoshi Island. Katara is also a little bit of a goofball here as she kind of just stands in the same place the whole episode. For part of it, it's understandable as she's protecting Aang in the Avatar state, but Sokka's had a whole life-changing experience here with Suki, and Aang is borderline on an acid trip in the spirit world, and Katara's been doing basically nothing, showing a scene or two with her exploring some of the island with Aang, or shopping for some food, exploring a building, or anything. A small scene would have been nice to not leave her out so much, in my opinion. Zhao gets in a conversation with Zuko where he gets suspicious over the fact that he's hiding something. He figures out there's a sighting of a flying bison near Kyoshi Island, and he tries to find what's up. Zuko realizes Zhao's ship was gone and chases after Zhao to Kyoshi Island. They get there, there's a whole confrontational battle breaks out. Kyoshi warriors, Zhao's men start fighting. Zuko and his crew, finding Katara, held them off before Aang became reincarnated into Kyoshi and destroyed everybody and everything with amazing after effects and great CGI, and everything was fine afterwards. I find it interesting that they make Aang's first approach Kyoshi, because, and I think in a bad way, I think it would have been fine if they did that. But even if you included 1 or 2 scenes with Aang contacting Roku, as everybody knows, you're closest with your closest past life. So Roku was closest to someone like Kyoshi, but for some reason, they just should have just done Roku like couple of scenes. Even if they didn't want to make him a major character, they should have just done a couple scenes to make his character prominent before they moved on to Kyoshi. Then again, I said what I said. You know, a couple more scenes here and there would have been good. To me, this episode was pretty good. Too much exposition. The stated intentions of each character is so clear. No viewer needs a second to even bother to figure it out or to infer something. It's how many Avatar theories were created from the original. It's like you can't really create any here. What I will say is everything they included in the episode was pretty good, but it was evidence that it was a little rushed. And it was also prevalent that they left out some necessary source material. Again, I liked the episode. What they put in, pretty much everything was good. But maybe some placement of some stuff before it, or some things in the middle. 5 more minutes even would have been good to add some small stuff to develop little mini arcs present in the original. Overall, I'd rate this episode a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7 if I'm generous. It's good, but there are some clear flaws with things missing. For people who have never watched the original, a lot of the same complaints would happen with the exposition, but they would probably like it more. So that's why I say people need to adjust their expectations. Again, it's better than I personally thought it was going to be, but obviously it's not going to be the original. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your thoughts, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload more content. And it's been me, the Avatar Fanatic out.